I think we saw something yesterday, Patrick. I think when Royce Lewis was rounding second base, I envisioned the hand in the air silhouette from Game 6 of 1991.
I think it was the same. I think it was accidentally identical. I think that is. I think he's already probably. Royce Lewis probably has surpassed Puckett in Twins lore, I would say. Now, let me say this. He has muscled up, hasn't he? Have you noticed that?
He's a lot bigger.
Thicker than he was. He's a lot thicker than he was, which makes him a little less quick than I thought he'd be at third base. That ball that went by him yesterday, I thought he might catch. But he did hit the ball to straightaway center field, and this isn't the Titleist that we were hitting 2019. This is a real baseball, and he did hit it. You know, when he hit it, I wasn't sure, and then you could see that he looked at the dugout. He knew he did it, so it was a great moment and all that. But let's settle down here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. This is what. Is it a week? Not a week yet.
He's played three. He's played 3 games.
3 games. 3 games. My dear friend Suhan now has called him the equal of Kirby Puckett, or the closest we've been. So he's passed Morneau, Mauer, Torrey Hunter, all those guys. I know we like to overreact and do things, but it is baseball. And was it only a year ago we were pretty excited about Jose Miranda? Now he's not an athlete, okay, like Royce Lewis, but we were pretty damn excited about him. And now he's trying to get over the 200 mark in St. Paul. So let's just settle down.
Twins Hall of Fame this weekend, Pat.
I agree.
Let's put him in the Twins Hall of Fame Saturday.
Who inducts him? Who inducts him this weekend?
I don't know who does make the induction speech. He's going to play 12 years, then he's got to wait 5. So 17 years from now, who's going to make the induction speech at Cooperstown? I'd like him. He's a nice kid. I talked to him a couple of times, but this whole notion that we should anoint him, and some moron texted me, and I can't use all the adjectives I used earlier when we were discussing this, texted me, isn't it a time for you to write a Now, I don't think it was satire. It might have been satire. I don't think. In Twitter, you can't tell sometimes. But this is Royce Lewis's team now, and not Byron Buxton's. Well, it hasn't been Buxton's team for about 5 years because he hasn't played, okay? That it hasn't been Buxton's team.
True, yeah.
But it's baseball, you morons. There's one sport where you can say, this is you can say Gretzky, this is Gretzky's team, okay, except he was surrounded by 5 of the greatest players that ever lived. But in basketball, you can say, okay, this is Nikolai Jokic's team. There's 5 guys on the floor. This is baseball, morons. Mike Trout's the best player in baseball, and he's played what? 2 playoff games, 3 playoff games in his entire career. So, come on. Don't. That's the trouble. One thing about modern sports, everything is related to football, right? I mean, so you make all these assumptions about baseball, and there's you got the quarterback in football, okay? He can be the leader of the pack, that's for sure. But in baseball, one guy doesn't do it, and pitching's more important than hitting. Pitching's more important than hitting. And there's 13 guys pitching now. So, but we use these cliches that we use in other sports to apply to baseball, and it doesn't.
So it's not, if I'm deciphering, it sounds like you need to see at least the rest of the Guardian series here before you crown it.
I think before I say, take down the statue of Puck and put up a statue. When's the statue going up?
Retire the number.
Yes.
In July.
What is the number? He hasn't even played long enough for me to know what his number is. What is his number? Does anybody know?
I'll give you 3 guesses. Can Reusse guess Royce Lewis's number? Go ahead.
28.
No, that's Blyleven.
Oh hell yes, that's right. No, I got no idea. I have no idea.
It's a pretty bold number. It's a bold number.
Yeah, it's a bold
7.
number.
7? No, that's Bauer.
It's bold.
That would be bold. Yeah.
In fact, you know what? Bring
that
it down
one
and give him 7.
is 7. So did they retire 7, or did they just put him in the? Okay, 7.
Yeah, 7's been retired. I hope 7's been retired. I have no idea.
23.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good number. I guess nothing wrong with that number, but yeah, it can be retired because I don't think we have any 23s, do we? So
no. Well, let's see here.
Good luck to him. He's helped, and that I think the last 2 wins have probably been their best of the season, right? Nice win against Houston, and then last night was probably the way Cleveland has beaten them. That inning against Pablo was unbelievable. First of all, as I said on Twitter, he's walked Miles. He's got a 3-1 lead. He's got Miles Straw on it. He's trying to hit the outside corner with breaking balls. Throw a fastball this large down the middle of the plate, right that large, and let him hit it as far as he can, which will be 40 feet away from the center field fence. His last name and his bat are the same material. Miles Straw is the worst hitting regular outfielder in baseball, and you start the inning by walking him on 5 pitches and don't come close on the last pitch. Instead of just throw it down the middle, and they end up getting 5 runs the way Cleveland does. Putting the ball in play. And
have you been able to use that line in a column yet? The Miles Straw.
I used it on Twitter. I did use that, but I might be able to today. I don't know. I got all worked up with the you guys should be happy after this win, right? You shouldn't have to tell people that go out and take a jump in a cold ice. I take an ice bath or something, for God's sakes.
You worked out
baseball.
Never.
Huh?
It's baseball. Never.
No, I'm worked up. It's unbelievable.
By the way, I just looked up the history of Twins wearing the number 23. It's kind of a graveyard of former top prospects, actually.
Oh, really?
Kind of makes me nervous. Willie Banks wore the number 23.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's going to be great.
Let's see. Benj Sampson wore the number 23 for the Twins in the 90s. Bobby Kielty, although he wasn't a bust. Bobby Kielty
had a pretty good career. Most of it not here, though, right?
Actually, it's funny. So Bobby Kielty was traded, I think, for Shannon Stewart, right?
Yes,
and then
right. Yeah.
Both of those guys wore the number 23.
Shannon Stewart's probably the best player then with 23 that they've had, right?
Matthew LeCroy, 23.
Until yesterday.
Look at this. There's a guy that wanted to once challenge you to a fight in a public space. Brendan Harris wore the number 23. Didn't he challenge you to a fight one time?
No, not personally, but I heard that he was looking for me. Yes, because I had said something. Luke Hughes I thought you were going to say Luke Hughes. He's the one.
No, Hughes pulled me aside one time in the Fort Myers clubhouse and said he just kind of whistled me over, and he was wearing his little cutoff jean shorts. He goes, "Hey, what's the deal with your co-host, mate?" And I was like, "Can you elaborate?" He goes, "He shouldn't be allowed in here if he's just going to be ripping on everyone and negative." And I had to have the conversation. I said, "Luke, if you go," I said, "you get to dictate how people talk about you. If you go hit 285 with 25 home runs, the narrative about you will be far different." He's like, "I guess you got a point."
I think my rip of him was that he could only hit the ball in this, those 6 inches on the inside corner of the plate. If you threw anything away from him, but he we had hope for him too, didn't we? We had big hope for him.
We did, yeah.
Work out.
Did we have big hope for him? I don't remember.
Yeah, he hit 6 home runs in spring training one time.
A monster spring, yeah.
We were hoping he'd be like Dan Ugla light or something, but
that was our Australian period. But Liam Hughes, who was the lefty? Brad Thomas, wasn't he Aussie? Yeah. And another one. There was another one too. And I think Nakamura, the reliever, was an Australian.
He was an Aussie. Okay.
A bad Australian. And he had 12 games. I looked it up yesterday with a 9 ERA. I was looking up yesterday. I'm gonna write a column for Sunday on relief pitchers we've hated through the decades. There's certainly not the happy hunting grounds for these guys for the first 30 years of the franchise, because they only had 4 relievers, 9 or 10 pitchers. Now we got dozens to choose from.
Yes.
That the pitching is so much different than I always point out the is it 67 or 68 where they had 8 pitchers pitch all but 33 innings. 8 pitchers, all but 33 innings. So things have changed.
It wasn't really until maybe the mid 90s where I remember the Yankees were the first real high pro. Well, actually, probably the Reds, the Reds early 90s teams that had like Norm Charlton, where you had an established bridge to the closer.
They had the 3 guys, the Nasty Boys, Dibble, Charlton, and
Randy
who was
Meyer.
Randy Meyer, yeah. 2 of them were lefties. Oh, that team swept the World Series against a great Yankee team, right? Great Yankee team, yeah. So that was Oakland, yeah. That was the end of Oakland, right? Pretty much the end of Oakland, yes. Right? Yeah. I remember what I remember about covering that World Series in Cincinnati is we all had Radio Shacks then. We were out in the press box in the right field, getting up in the right field one, and there was no light, and that thing needed light. You were looking up to see what you'd written, and then typed down, because there was that thing needed some light to get on it. But yeah, that was my Marge Schott experience too, and they had one elevator going downstairs to get to the clubhouse, and I came back to the press box to get in the elevator, and I was standing there early, and it opened up, and Marge was there drunk with like beer rolling out of her face and says, "Get the bleep out of here." I got MF'd by Marge Schott. That was one of the highlights of my career.
That's a badge of honor. God, that'd be awesome.
A drunk Marge Schott on her way to sweeping the World Series. Told me to stay the hell out.
So
of
what was it? Not it was the media elevator, and she just
it was a small elevator, but she was coming from a suite up above her, and so she had gotten into it early, and I was trying to get into it in the 9th inning because Cincinnati was going to go on.
She was certifiable.
She did not want company. So anyway, this is. You look and you'd say you got to beat this Cleveland club now, right? They're not much out there, right?
Bury him right now. This is time to build a 10-game lead in the division. The fact that they only have a 2.5-game lead, I think, is why there's so much fan angst, right? There's only one team in the American League outside of the Central that's below 500 right now, and it's the Oakland A's.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's 4 teams in the West, and all 5 teams in the East are above 500, and the Twins are above 500. And so the other 5 teams that are below 500, 4 are in the Central, and 1 is the Oakland Athletics. Yeah.
I wouldn't, if I was a Twins fanatic, though, I would not fear. First of all, they aren't far enough over 500 to collapse, right? To have a collapse like they did last year. But if this rotation stays, you're going to miss. Somebody's going to miss 2 weeks here and there. But the starting pitching so much better than it was last year that I don't see a collapse. You're not going to be sending out Chris Archer and Dylan Bundy and those guys. So I think they're going to be competitive all year. Although once they're done playing Cleveland here, they go out on the road and play Tampa and Tampa and somebody else.
Baltimore comes to town like in a few weeks.
Yeah, we can all bring up. How did you let Yanier Cano get away? How could you possibly let him get away? What's wrong with
the great young arms in baseball?
I want to give you guys my favorite current Twin statistic that I stumbled across this morning. So,
I'm ready.
Joey Gallo, we're like, 50 games? We're almost 60 games into the season here. And Joey Gallo has more home runs than singles.
I think. Nice. Hasn't he done that in a year or two? I think he's done that.
I'll check. He's got 11 home runs, 9 singles, 5 doubles, 62 strikeouts in 160 plate appearances.
Yeah, he's struck under. Last year he struck out almost half the time, but he's going to be pushing 40% again. But we love him. He's the one guy they don't take out of the lineup. But of course, being available is a good thing.
That catch in right field, though, man, that was a hell of a catch last night.
It was. It was.
He's fun to watch play the outfield.
Yeah, much better with Kirilloff playing first. How about Kirilloff? He's an on-base machine, man. So, they, then now Correa, don't you think they're going to put him on a DL this time?
They got it now.
Yeah. Let him take it. But if it's any kind of plantar fasciitis, you got to let it heal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And put him on short because, you can put Royce at short. He played a lot there, and we could find out if he's the greatest shortstop in Twins history too, to go with everything else. So
I got your Gallo answer here, by the way. So for his career, he has 188 home runs, 205 singles, and 1,110 strikeouts.
That might be the greatest stat ever. 188 3 home runs and 205 singles. Unbelievable.
In fact, he has 94 doubles. So I guess he has twice as many singles as doubles, but he's pretty much equal. He's got twice as many home runs as doubles.
Yeah. It is amazing, but as it turned out, they're probably lucky they signed him because all the other, Kepler, migraine. I was wondering if there was a dust up or something that those guys left at the same time yesterday, but I can't imagine them doing that. Neither of them seemed, Correa or Kepler seemed to have that kind of personality, so I don't know.
Can we be done with Max, though? Wallner's absolutely tearing it up. Larnach's coming back. I think the Max Kepler thing has run its course.
I do, too, but I will say about Wallner, he's going to strike out damn near as much as Joey Gallo. He's going to strike out a lot if he comes up here. He might hit some home runs and do some stuff, and he might be like Gallo and take walks, but he's going to strike out a lot.
But what does Kepler do now? He could play right field pretty well, but he doesn't. I mean, it's just been long enough now. It's not a small sample size thing now. Where he just doesn't produce.
He's under 200 again.
I know.
That's it's just not. I don't think they have to pay him after this year either, right? I think it was
an option or something.
I think it was an option that they won't have to take. But you're right. It's time. There's enough left-handed hitting outfielders floating around on this team to not have to put up with this anymore. Plus, doesn't it give the squad an example that we do have a standard?
Yes.
There is a standard.
The fact they sit here and they wring their hands of, there's nowhere to put Wallner. There's nowhere to, for a while it was kind of Royce Lewis. What do we do? It's like you don't have this isn't the 1999 Yankees lineup here. Okay,
no.
This is
figure it out. One question: Who have they dumped? This administration that surprised us in a situation like this? Have they done? I'm trying to think. There has to be somebody that they got rid of. Not a pitcher, but
they had a chance to dump Nick Gordon. Nick Gordon wound up being a good utility guy last year, but they don't.
But I mean a real player, a Kepler type, a regular player. Do they ever dump one of these guys? They keep holding them, thinking they're gonna. It's like holding on to Dalvin Cook, thinking who by the way was good, but it's like holding on to thinking you're going to be able to trade him instead of just say, okay, see ya, goodbye. So
it's a good question. I don't think they have. I don't think so.
Well, I think the time has come. I think and if he goes and he's a good player someplace, that's fine. They figured something out that you have not been able to figure out, right? So.
Yep, which has happened before in Twins history. So Pat, we gotta run here, but we'll get your thoughts on Royce Lewis
Hall of Fame.
As the face of the franchise.
Big game this weekend. I gotta go to big game this weekend, 11:15 a.m. in Matamidi. Grandson Luke's team playing my stepson's best buddy Tommy Hansen's oldest kid in a game out in Matamidi. We'll be there taunting that Hansen kid. By God, we'll be getting on him. Yes.
Screw that Hansen kid. Yeah,
that's right. Ooh, look at that Hansen kid. See you later.
Amazing. All right, see you, Pat. All right, Reusse Unchained, presented by our friends at Power Lodge and Miller Marine. Pick your power. Head to the Power Lodge locations in Brainerd, Onamia, Ramsey, Miller Marine, and St. Cloud. And Judd, with temperatures up, prices are down. You can get a Bennington pontoon, maybe like the one you see right here on this YouTube video, for $28,888. And the first 8 people to buy get a trailer for $18,88, Judd.
And that's a small price to pay because this is one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, may I bring you throttle therapy? It is the type of therapy that Minnesota sports fans need, because now is a time to relax, to gear up for football, to gear up for the fall sports. So yes, throttle therapy on the Bennington on a gorgeous summer night, just relaxing and forgetting all your troubles. Nothing is better.
PowerLodge.com or MillerMarine.com, helping to power Reusse Unchained.